Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, and I'm back to bring you another episode review from Season 7 of The Loud House. So let's get right into it. Today's episode is Out of Step. In this episode, Clyde and Nana Gayle face off against Chandler and his grandmother in the finals of a dance competition, but a bunch of misfortunes befall the McBrides, courtesy of the McCanns. My first positive would definitely have to be Clyde and Nana Gayle. I believe this is the first time these two have ever had the lead all to themselves, and seeing these two perform together as a grandson-grandmother dance couple was actually really sweet. Personally, I would have seen them working more as a team in some sort of culinary or baking competition, since that would be more in line with their characters, but this whole dancing thing they did here was just as nice. Anyway, they have to face off against Chandler and his grandmother by performing a series of different dance routines in order to win some massage chairs. The McCanns swear they won't do anything sneaky in order to screw with their opponents, which pretty much means they were going to be sneaky and screw with their opponents. Now, I will give some credit on how the conflict slowly unfolded, because it did appear as if the McCanns were going to stick to their word, since they were insisting Clyde and Gayle get a second chance to perform. They were pointing out what caused them to mess up, like getting whacked in the face by loose floorboards and falling through an open trap door. They were acting concerned and really made it seem as if someone other than them was committing sabotage. But then I thought, nah, these two were definitely committing sabotage. And what do you know? They were! Big frickin' surprise. That being said, I might as well talk about a few negatives I had with the episode. Chandler and his grandmother, of course, being the most obvious, for reasons I don't think I even need to explain. Another thing that didn't make sense is how did no one see the oil getting spilled onto the stage before Clyde and Gayle started dancing? An auditorium full of people and Mrs. Bernardo were right there in plain view of the stage, and no one saw the McCanns spreading oil all over the place? Talk about being conveniently oblivious for the sake of storytelling. Another issue I had was Mrs. Bernardo as the contest judge, and usually I never have anything bad to say about her. She legitimately denied giving the McBrides a second chance to perform their dance routines, even though outside forces beyond their control caused them to mess up. Even the McCanns, faking their own good sportsmanship sincerity to lead everyone off their underhanded trail, mind you, insisted Clyde and Gayle should have a do-over since what happened to them wasn't their fault. Apparently, it's against the rules to give do-overs regardless of whether the failures were caused by the dancers themselves or some outside interference no one could have expected. I call heavy amounts of bullcrap on these rules. Also, I found it a little off-putting how Mrs. B said the McBrides still had a chance to win even though they were awarded 3 zeros and the McCanns were awarded 3 perfect 10s. Unless the final dance they had to do would award them enough points to take them from 0 to 30 or whatever number could surpass the McCanns, the McBrides realistically had no chance of making a comeback. Their only real comeback was in the form of following Chandler and filming him buying the supplies he was going to use during their next dance routine. Granted, the McBrides' original plan to catch the McCanns setting up booby traps before the start of the show backfired, but they were able to pull off most of their dance routine by avoiding what Chandler was throwing at them since they knew what to expect. Still, they initially ended up losing the contest thanks to Chandler using a large fan to literally throw them off their feet. Then Clyde used the same fan to expose Chandler's scheme after Grand McCann was revealed to not be Chandler's actual grandmother. It was actually Chandler's friend Trent, and Mrs. Bernardo ultimately has them disqualified and permanently banned from every dance contest in Royal Woods. So, in predictable fashion, Clyde and Gayle were declared the winners by default, and Chandler and Trent were punished by being subjected to the same painful treatment they gave the McBrides. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing a one-dimensional jerk like Chandler getting a taste of his own medicine, so this is the kind of ending we can all dance to. Overall, this episode is pretty weak, but it's far from terrible. It was great seeing Clyde and Gayle as the main stars, and I appreciate how they were able to carry the story without any involvement from Lincoln, who only appears at the beginning with Myrtle and is never seen again afterwards. Chandler was just his usual crooked and mean-spirited self who was going to do whatever he could to come out as a winner, so seeing him come out as a loser in the end was very rewarding. One thing I wish the episode had done differently was maybe have Chandler's actual grandmother in the contest. Maybe she finds out her grandson was sabotaging the competition after he promised to play fair. It would have been nice to see someone in Chandler's family actually have a conscience and have what appears to be a sweet grandmother show disappointment in their own grandson for being a cheater. Instead, we're initially led to believe being a jerk runs in the family, so not having a more respectable blood relative serve as a foil to Chandler is a big missed opportunity in my book. Between the two main antagonists and my critiques about Mrs. Bernardo enforcing stupid and nonsensical contest rules, Clyde and Gayle performed performing their many choreographed and improvised dance routines were the only real highlights I could find. I'll even go so far as to say the dances performed by Chandler and his grandmother were also highlight worthy. So I would say if you're a big fan of Clyde and or Gayle, or like the idea of these two bonding, you'll get some enjoyment from watching these two. As for everyone and everything else, not so much. With that said, I give Out of Step a 6.4 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Out of Step. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.